What's going on, everybody? The RedSon lives once again, and the more I say it, the more I feel like that opening is kind of cringy, but I'm a man of integrity, therefore I shall continue doing it until I think of something. And it was brought to attention at least once that a friend of mine told me it'd probably be good of me to start scripting these things, and that is a good idea, but as of the moment, I am very lazy, so fuck you until I can profit off of it. Now, in the future, now, what I've got written down for, there is not going to be a part 3 to horror and hentai. At least not for a while. Not because not because I got anything back from it, but just like, I'm bored. I don't really want, I don't really feel like doing the research for it. That's a weird thing when you can refuse research of the spicy kind. But yeah, I'll do it. I'll do what I want. It's gonna be fun for me anyway. Now, starting off on something like that, it's going to be the exact opposite of what it was for the past 2 days. And we're going to start with, well, not really the exact opposite. There's one thing that's kind of the opposite of it. But, so I can easily make it move a little bit better, starting off with my thoughts on abridged anime. Mostly because the same friend that said I should have a script said he fucking hates abridged anime, and if you're watching this, I'm calling you out! That's what I thought. For the reference, I kind of like this. I kind of like what I did here. Yeah, kind of that cue ball look, got the goggles, make you look like discount Spider-Man. The mask, I feel like I am going to change a little bit. Not the full thing, just, this. Because this is something that I worked on for a little bit, but I feel like it doesn't fit all too well. And it always looks like it's a little off. Like, it's not perfectly symmetrical. It might be, and I might be stupid, but, like, it, it just seems a little off to me. Maybe it's like the chin isn't like, human chins are a little bit, like, more, like, rounded. And around there, or at least I am. I'm not taking off the mask to show off because I don't want you to be blinded by my pure beauty. Ooh, I'd have all the women and the men rolling on the floor. And I'll keep an eye out for any of you. First thing, alright, I already said abridged anime. And my personal thoughts on them is I love them when they're done right. Overall, it's a good medium, and I do love it to so much of an extent. But I've seen some of them that aren't too good, and those are usually like the first episode when they're kind of like waving back and forth whether or not they want to do one thing or the other, and they slowly build their identity. The most popular that I feel like I can name off are Dragon Ball and Hellsing Ultimate. Mostly because Dragon Ball, Team 4 Star are fucking gods at what they're doing. They fit their own humor so well. Now, it's this mix of like, they know the absurdity of what's going on, but they also want to continue on with stuff, but they also have to play they have to do 50% of everything that's in the original show. But they can choose what 50% they want to do. They have the basic plot and where it's going. They just need to, like, add in some jokes that make fun of how stupid certain things are. And I fucking love it. It's so ridiculous and over the top. Me and my friends, like, no joke, quote it every single time we see each other in one way or another. Sometimes we'll walk by someone and they'll have, like, a little hat, one of those little baseball caps up. And we'll walk by and the first thing one of us will do will like smack it off his head, and then he'll look down at it and be like, "My trigger hit!" And then sprint towards someone. That'll be the funniest shit ever. Ever. Even like sometimes when we like, if we get bored and we decide to watch the movies for Dragon Ball every once in a while, we'll see like that badass scene where Cooler is fighting Goku, and then he like fucking smashes him into a rock and then crushes him between the rocks and slams him into the ground. And then as soon as that happens, we'll all look at it and be like, "I'm gonna plant me a dumbass tree." And it's the fucking funny. It's so quotable. I mean, Jesus Christ. I've been trying to get a lot of my friends to watch more Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. So far there's me and my friend Christian, who currently left for the Marines, and he's been up there for about a month now. And if you see this and it gets popular enough to where you actually see it, or you have some base liberty while you're out there, I salute you, my dude. Don't fuck it up. Military pays really well if you're not a dipshit. Trust me, 90% of my family's in the military. I, on the other hand, am collecting manga, video games, and talking about sexy hentai women and beautiful everything else on a YouTube channel that has literally 1 subscriber at the moment. I appreciate you for what you did. This is gonna sound really weird if you bring it up again, because I only told one friend about this. But it's gonna be funny. Imagine, like, if this channel actually does get a certain amount of subscribers, and they're all like, "Who is the first one?" Like, someone's gonna be like, "It was me, it was me, it was me, it was me, it was me." Hey. It's like, "I've been here since the first 10 subscribers." And I'm looking at my watch like, it's been 3 years and there's only 20. Like, congratulations, man, but meh. Now, the reason I like the way Team 4-Star does it, and there are other ones that I really do like Goblin Slayer Abridged, that's fucking hilarious. Because what they do is they take a certain aspect of a character and capitalize further upon it, and then push it into absurdity. Now, since I was talking about it for a good amount of time, there is part of the mask getting in my eye, like through my eyelid. Part of the reason I like Hellsing Ultimate Abridged is that what they did with Alucard. They made him this. Jesus, I need to work on my sewing. This is getting fucking ridiculous. Alright, that feels better. The reason I like Alucard in that so much is because they took, like, his essential, like, what is he? He's nihilistic because of these reasons. How about, instead of telling you about the reasons, we'll show you it in a certain few things so you actually connect with the character, but we're also going to capitalize on that nihilistic worldview and then push that to absurdity. Hey, so he doesn't give a shit the entire time. He's making jokes, people's lives are on the lines, and he's just like, "Ugh, okay, Mom, I'll go do that." And he's a cocky, sarcastic asshole, and I would die for him. Yeah. Another one of the things they did, like I said before, Goblin Slayer Abridged, they don't have a ton of episodes out, and I really support them for at least getting those out. Those are fucking amazing. Where it's always like they first introduced Goblin Slayer, and it's that badass moment where it's like the girl just peed herself and she's waiting away like, "Oh my god, oh my god." And instead of like that Doom Slayer-esque feel that he's supposed to give off, where he just fucking like goes through everybody's body, fucking murdering them, stabbing them, bashing them over the head with a club, he keeps going until eventually, that's how it happened in the anime. In the abridged, what happens is that is a little bit of spoilers, but it's literally like the first 10 minutes. So, whatever the fuck. It's been out for a while. I hope there's a season 2, because there's enough manga to work off of it. As he, like, moves on, he's this big, instead of being this intimidating force of nature that he's supposed to be, where he just flat out murders all the guys or all the goblins, he comes out there and that whole scene is just sped up really fast, and he's like, "Goblin, goblin, goblins," and then he just runs around with a knife, just the fuck. Everything is sped up to absurdity, like, and it just goes out of control so quickly, and they move past the scene, and they're just like, "Ah, are you okay? You're bleeding on the ground. I bet we should probably get some use him out. What is your name? Tell me your name." I don't remember the full lines, but I'm imagining like a really stupid but amped up guy just like, "I gotta kill some goblins." He talks like that all the time, and I just heard my voice crack, and I really want to die right now because I heard it. And it's so it's over the top. They focus on a characteristic that the person has, and they still try to like get the general story of what's going on, but they push it to absurdity by highlighting everything that that one character trait is, and then just mixing it with like some clever jokes that they wrote up, because these people have a lot of time. They have to go over the editing, they have to sometimes they have to lip sync a lot of the things that they're doing with other frames to make sure that it comes out right. Otherwise, it would just be like incorrect lip readings. I'm pretty sure there's a YouTube series about it. I know that it exists. I just don't remember the name. It's the one where they. That's the one where they did like the Redneck Avengers, or they did the Seagulls song that was like, I think it was the second Star Wars movie, second or third one. I don't remember. I don't remember which one the Dagobah system was, because I haven't seen Star Wars in forever. Mostly because I've been too busy watching all the good shit that it had. They had the first good 3 movies, then the prequels came out, and it just there's a few bad parts. There's a lot of bad parts in it. There's a few good parts. The same thing with the newer ones. And then they made the shows that came out made. Star Wars does not have a good track record with movies. They have a really good track record with shows. Like, goddamn. Got Clone Wars, Rebels, The Mandalorian, and you're bringing back the Clone Wars for a 7th season just to make it good again. Jesus Christ, just make shows. There are shit tons of books out there. Just make shows. Okay, back to Abridged. When they take the characters and they make them into these like caricatures of their original self, and they push the envelope of what their character is, like, a lot of people state that comedy is, well, like the formula for comedy is tragedy plus time equals comedy. But then there's another formula. I think that's what it's referred to as, but it's a comedic world is an insane person in a sane world, or a sane person in an insane world. So what they do is they try to make everybody in it, all the main characters, as insane and over the top as possible in a world where everybody else is sane. That's what Abridged is, because in Dragon Ball, it's an insane world with insane characters. There's random animal people they use in the backgrounds to fight. There's energy blasts that everybody thinks is like, oh, it's fake, but it's common, but it's fake, but it's common. There have been multiple world-ending things that have been televised throughout the world. Who gives a shit? We're just gonna keep moving past it. Everybody's insane there, but there's a story that everybody loves because they grew up with Dragon Ball. But what they do in Abridged is they make everybody else a lot more down to earth except for the main characters, and they push them further above where they already were in the insanity. Like, some characters, they'll give them that little spot of where they're more self-aware, like the Broly movie Abridged, where Paragus is going over Broly's backstory gets revealed, and Vegeta is just sitting there like, so you're telling me he got really mad because Kakarot cried a lot? Yes, like a lot. For like 3 hours. And Vegeta's there like, but that's so dumb. But he's so cool. But that's so dumb! Are you telling me the legendary Super Saiyan is a literal crying fucking baby? Maybe. And he goes off on that whole thing. And it's like, he momentarily sees through the world being sane and him and the main characters being insane. And those moments are fucking amazing. I love them so much. Because it's always that, like, that break in the script where it's just like, how would a normal person react to this? That's how it goes. That's how it is. And that works a lot. That is a really good system with abridged things. Not all abridged are good, but those are usually the ones that didn't have a lot of time put into them. But the ones that I've seen are fucking fantastic. They're like if fan fiction were much, much more well made. Not to say fan fiction out there is bad. I've spent my time on a fanfic.net. I know what I'm talking about. Except for you motherfuckers who write 20-chapter stories about a book that's 3 chapters long. Holy fuck, what time do you have on your hand? Who are you? What do you do? Do you have a pile of gold that you just sit on and it's just like, what am I gonna do today? Well, I have no bills, nothing to do over here. Last updated 4 minutes ago. Well, I've got an idea for a chapter. And then it goes off on this whole thing. Who are you? There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. But how the fuck are you doing it? That's like if nobody in the world was a plumber who had to, like, get their hands in shit and then, like, just wade through that so they could clean people's toilet. But there's one guy out there who actually does it. And everybody's just like, who cleans this? It's a magical guy who's super fucking fast, and he shows up. Like, who are you? Why do you do this? You know there's better stuff out there. Use your talents for so much more. Jesus Christ. The only fan fiction that sucked... Nope. Yeah, I remember what I was going to say. The only fan fiction that did suck dick, literally and metaphorically. I have fogged up my glasses, like these goggles, so much I can't see the monitor. I'm serious, like, it's not even like fog in here. This is like straight up water. I don't think I've blinked in the past, like, 5 minutes, just because there's so much liquid in here that keeps my eyes from being able to close fully or get dehydrated. But the only fan fiction I have found that sucked dick is pretty unknown. Have any of you heard of 50 Shades of Grey? You know that thing that's not porn, but it's also porn? And yet people still fucking buy it? I know I kind of missed the bus on the whole fuck 50 Shades of Grey thing, but I didn't have a YouTube channel then, so gonna talk about it now. It's not in my script, I just feel like I need to say it. It was supposed to be fan fiction for Twilight, and then it turned into a BDSM story that doesn't fit together in a good way. Like, none of it cohesively makes out what a real person is. What I'm trying to say is that it's shitty fan fiction that led to bad characters, bad development. You can't even tell it's fan fiction because it's not even the same fucking story. Alright, there's so much. And if your fan fiction and turns a teen love story, the Twilight books were not that bad. The movies, on the other hand, had shitty acting from good actors. I like Kristen Stewart. I think she's hot. I would definitely want to see her in more movies. I liked American Ultra. She was in that. She was fucking cool. Well, you want to know why? Because maybe she wasn't mumbling around with her mouth open like, no emotion in her eyes whatsoever. She's like, twinkly vampire in the background. But my love life is a fucking vampire. You stand over there and you start taking blood samples like a real American. Then you get bit, because being a vampire, what happens? You only have a few weaknesses. One of them is the sunlight. What does it do for these types of guys? Oh, you turn twinkly. You saying all the bad stuff about me is being a fucking disco ball? I would walk out in the middle of fucking Los Angeles if I could. I'm gonna hide in the mountains so no one can see how sparkly I am. You're dead inside. You don't feel heat. Just wear a lot of clothes. I'm actually gonna cut out some of the things that I had in my script because I've gone on this tangent for so long that I'm gonna continue going on it because I feel like I need to get this stuff out. If you're a vampire like that, listen, vampires are corpses that walk around in the daylight. Their blood does not flow. They are dead. Their blood does not flow. They don't have a heartbeat. Their pulse doesn't exist. Everything about them. I might even cut out like half, like all the shit that's in this just because I have so much to say about this. That's so. Jesus fuck! You know, all my other videos were titled RedSon Rambles and then like colon, whatever the fuck I was talking about. I might just turn this to RedSon Rants. That could actually be a good idea. I will keep that with me until I find stuff that pisses me off. Alright, but on to the vampire thing. Alright, vampires. I know there's a shit ton of ways that vampires have been portrayed throughout media, but this one got famous. So now I can shit on it for a few reasons. What are we good at? Oh, we can see in low light vision because we're trained to be like that, because we're the ultimate hunters. And we're super tough, our body is made of rock. And we're super fast, and we have all these different abilities. Some of us have flat out fucking superpowers, like turning into a shield and fucking blocking bullets. Well, it's in a night you can run from Oregon to the outer place in Canada, like from like bottom Oregon to fucking Canada. I know this is not a good comparison, but even if it is the shortest route, that's less than a day. That's less than half a day. You're that strong. Why do you give a fuck about being seen in the sparkly world? Like, oh, I stepped into like the southern parts of the United States where they don't take too kindly to people who aren't the same as you. You're a fucking vampire. Eat one of them and set an example. Keep moving. It's so simple. And you all have superpowers. Some of you can see the fucking future, and you're just like, oh, gonna go back and brood with my family. Like, what parent did you have? Did the parent not spank you? Did the parent not pull out the fucking ruler or the wooden spoon or like a paddle? Like a legit paddle. Not like, it'd be funny if they brought out like an oar to a boat and just be like, alright, bend over. Why? That's for being stupid. Why was that stupid? Because we sparkle in the sunlight and you think that's a bad thing. Hey, they don't have, their blood does not flow. They're made of rock. They see their heads get torn off and then nothing falls out. Not even like muscle or like a trachea starts like dangling from the bottom. Not even blood flows out. So that means they don't have to worry about blood, which means they don't have to worry about a functioning heart. Heart. Which means if they don't have to worry about a functioning heart, they don't really have to focus on any of their organs actually working. The only thing they need to do is consume blood. And why blood? Because it contains something that not a lot of other things have. I think it's vitamin C or vitamin D. I'm not well versed on it, but it's one of the vitamins that comes from being in the sunlight for an extended period of time. Vampires cannot get that. You want to know why? Because they burst into flames. Or they would if they weren't fucking sparkling all the goddamn time. I'm a 19-year-old dude, and I am ranting about Twilight. I'm a few years behind the bus, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up because I feel a little stupid every time I think about it for more than 2 seconds. But I'm gonna keep talking really fast so I don't notice that I've talked for more than 2 seconds. Why don't they live underwater then? Like, not even like, I'm gonna go live in the ocean. Broods while playing My Chemical Romance. And like, I know My Chemical Romance is a good band. I listen to them all the time. But like, the kind of songs that you hear and immediately think like, emo, no. And you have like blood on the dance floor, whatever music played in that stupid fucking Devil May Cry DMC remake, whatever the fuck they did. where they all have like those colorful tattoos and they're like, I'm living in hell. Like that stupid shit as they like walk into it with their neck down. They're like, no one understands me. They got like a shirt that says Tim Burton and on the front of it says like perfect relationship and Jack Skellington and Sally. I haven't seen it forever. Shut up. It's like perfect relationship and on their back it's like an upside down cross tattooed because they're fucking stupid and they didn't even research what a satanic cross looks like. Like, I'm Christian and I know what a fucking satanic cross looks like. Get your shit together and stop being edgy. Dipshit. And then he like walks into the ocean all like that. And he gets down there. Like, you don't have to live down there with the fucking sharks. Just go into a big lake and take a nap. You don't need to breathe. Hey, I don't know, get your own little fishing thing. Put like a big box at the bottom of the water. Do some construction underwater. Get some like Abyss shit, like the movie. I forget who's all in it, but the movie The Abyss, where they're so fucking deep underwater, that like no one can find them ever. You don't have to worry about oxygen, and you don't have to worry about pressure because your skin is harder than fucking rock. You can go to the bottom of the ocean and not give a fuck about anything. Seriously, you'll build stuff and then like, maybe I want to start like looking like I'm human rather than like not breathing all the time. Then you like go up there and you start getting like used propane, one of those big like outdoor propane tanks that like everybody in like low class neighborhoods has just displayed up there because that's a sign you're going into a bad neighborhood. That's a sign you're going into a bad white neighborhood, first of all. You have those big ones that look like tiny submarines or they look like metal Twinkies. That's a weird comparison, but I'm going to use it. They take those and they keep putting them down there and they keep like welding them together until eventually it's like, all right, now try breathing. What do I do now? Out? You said out? Oh, but how would you communicate if you're underwater and you don't have to deal with that? Fucking sign language. You don't need high vision because you're a vampire and you're trained to live in the darkness. Your eyes are already adjusted to all the darkness all the time. You can see in low light vision. It's not that hard. Hell, humans do it and we're not even trained for it. We can see in low light vision if we're like in the dark for more than 15 minutes. It's not that hard. Hell, you do the same shit that Riddick does where it's like hands over goggles. And it's like he slowly starts noticing like, hey, I can see the color of my skin. I can see the outlines of my palms. And then it just keeps like fucking moving on. It's not a big problem. Learn sign language. Be like, I don't know sign language all that well. I know like the alphabet a little bit. And I know this. And this. Drastically different statements. Well, in the right context, they're not. But yeah. And then, just... your vampires have specific superpowers like it's a goddamn X-Men series. Oh, but what do we like to do? We like to play baseball. We like to play baseball, but we can only do it during thunderstorms. So that when lightning hit... like, the one girl says, like, my premonitions aren't always right. You can predict when lightning is going to strike to the T. To the T. To the 10th of a second when it shows up. Fuck that. Win the lottery. Why are you here? Move on. Even if it doesn't work that way, just spend a lot of time around the lottery. Every once in a while, like a crazy homeless guy who's like addicted to meth, you just like eat him and then keep going. It's like, oh, you've been walking in a circle for what, like 17 years? Yeah, eventually I'll win the lottery. Well, how do you know that? Because we're immortal and I can do what I want. Fuck you. No, until eventually you win and then it's like, what's left? You won the lottery. Oh, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. Bitch, I'm a vampire and I've been alive for 115 years. I've been here since like the first centennial. The first 100 years of this nation's founding. I think I've earned all the money and all the freedom. Fuck you. No. And like, what would you do? First of all, there's public services that you could give out since you were a vampire. Or if your taste buds were like good enough, then you could determine what blood diseases certain people have. I know that's stretching it a little bit, but like everybody's just like, yeah, all these guys go to high school. You motherfuckers look like you're 20 and you're 115. Why are you at a high school? Do you want to look normal like that? Do you want. Dude, grow a beard. You can grow a beard. Your hair gets longer. Which, that's a weird question. Do vampires grow hair? Because, like, Nosferatu was bald, but he was also, like, long fingered, look like if a bat was a human being. But all the time, you see vampires with long hairs, and I call bullshit on most of them. They always have that, like, long, wavy, like, yeah. Yeah, can you grow hair? That means you can grow facial hair. You can just look older. You don't have to keep going to school, dumbass. Yes. Oh, well, what else can you do? Well, I can run super fast. I can pretty much do whatever I want. If a superhero can do it, then so can I. Why are you in high school? You've been in high school for like 70 years. I was in high school. I wanted to get out day 3. Day 1 because, let's see where this goes. Day 2, oh, so maybe maybe I'm the problem. Day 3, fuck you guys and fuck everything you stand for. Or I'm out. And then that was how I deal. That was like, and you were in there for 70 years. Do you think the principal asked a few questions every once in a while? You can only feign stupidity a little bit. And then this was before No Child Left Behind, so it's like, child left behind, fuck that kid. And they kick him out into the street. They wait for that principal to leave, and they're like, yeah, I'd like to enroll in your college. Why are you 20? Why are you in high school? Get out of my face. I want to see them try that shit in like an inner city school. Not one of those like private 99% white people with like that 3 Asian guys in there to like diversify. I want to see all of Twilight, but it's in Detroit. Just imagine that. I live in Tennessee. I do not live in Detroit. I do not know what Detroit is like. But if people have pictures of it and compare it to looking like Chernobyl or a fucking Fallout game, and about 85% of deaths go unsolved. 85% of all murder goes unsolved in Detroit. Imagine just the entire movie series, or the books for that matter, taking place in there, where you're probably gonna get stabbed within the next 2 weeks of you living there, and you're white. And you don't live in like the good part of Detroit where it's like, oh, we're gonna have a fun time up here because everybody's all nice. No, you're rich. I want to see you live down there in the inner cities where motherfuckers get stabbed. Yeah. I want to see that movie where instead of like, I'm brooding because I have to go home to my fucking house with my dad. We just bought this new house because we had to get away from our mom. I want to see it be like, I can barely afford my own rent, but I'm still going to live in one of these project houses. And then they can't complain about shit. They still try to act like, oh, I'm brooding and dark. And then somebody comes up to them and is like, shut the fuck up, and like pulls out a crowbar and bam, bam. And then the movie continues on like that, and you slowly start seeing like this sheltered, like, California or New Mexico, wherever the fuck Bella's from, I don't know. Oh. And she's just like, yeah, I'm deep. I'm 14 and this is deep. And then, like, somebody calls her out on it and she gets tased right then and there. And she's like, why is nobody helping me? And then, like, the police officer who's supposed to be stopping it is just laughing at her. I want to see that shit so much. I want to fund that movie. Petition to make all of Twilight again with the same actors, but it's in Detroit. You gotta keep all the dialogue. No matter how much you've gotten your ass kicked, you still have to keep the dialogue, though. That would be fucking hilarious. I don't even know what time I'm at. I still can't fucking see it. Like, seriously, there's more water in here than there is air, just because of all the vapors. And then, don't even... I still have the rest of this thing to do, so I'm gonna fill it up with another big-ass complaint that I have. What the fuck was anybody thinking when they thought about what they were gonna turn the werewolves into? Do you know what a werewolf looks like? Do you know what a werewolf looks like? Fine, let's follow your example. Alright, who are they? They're a pack of people that go together like it's a very close family, with certain things being different and more of a, let's say, Native American inspiration. Understandable. Hannibal. I'm pretty sure werewolves didn't exactly originate anywhere else until we got to America, where the natives were a lot more focused on animalistic spirits. I'm not assuming anything. I'm not well versed in my Native American history, but I'm pretty sure that the werewolf legend originated in here in the good old US of A. Alright, now let's take it a little step further. Instead of being a man and a wolf put together, let's just say it's a big wolf. Alright, there's a lot you can do with that. Maybe it'll look like a Fenrir from the Norse mythology, the big fucking wolf that'll eventually eat Odin and then cause Ragnarok and shit like that. But they take hit. But let's say all the wolves they're faster than than most of the vampires. All right, cool. Get a natural predator versus prey, but also one of them is I can start to see the water rolling down the inside of my glasses or goggles. All right, so there's a nice predator versus prey. One of them is faster, one of them is stronger, or at least tougher. And some of them have their natural weaknesses. If you get on their back, there's not a lot they can do about it because their neck isn't flexible enough to get anywhere back there. Now, what happens if, let's say... What else do we want to do? How do they bond with certain people? Oh, well, they can sense them as a genetic composition immediately once they exist, regardless of what they turn out to be. What do we want to make the story about? How about there's a Jacob character, and then there's a Edward character, whatever, I don't care. I say I don't care as I rant on about all this bullshit that wasn't even popular when it was popular. But I'm still going to say it because I had a script and then I threw out the script because I have strong feelings about that. I am going to... That is a little better. No. Part of my mask is like coming up. No eyebrow reveals today. All you sluts trying to figure out what my eyebrows look at. Shame on you. Cover up your shoulders and your ankles. We don't need to see that. You too, women. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. And is my door open? No, it is not. I still can't see shit in this because I just smudged a lot of the water. Whatever. Alright, so the vampires and the werewolves, they have a good dynamic going. Some of them, they're a close brotherhood. The other one is a close brotherhood. They always have, like, the distrust and hate, but they also have, like, a respect, like, the kind of way a lot of animals see humans. Like, they're fucking weird. We'll take a few steps back. If they fuck with us, I will take them down. But we're not going to start the fight. Makes sense. Alright, and let's say, I don't know. What do we make them do? How about every time they transform, they get naked? I mean, that makes sense. The transformation would be into a larger species that end up tearing through all their clothes. It's a little bit of a weird thing, but understandable. Handable. How about let's make it to where there's no repercussion of them transforming whatsoever and they can do it without the full moon? A little less restrictions, that's cool. But wait a minute, how do they not feel anything when they transform? They're turning into something that's bigger than them. There's not a lot of magic going on. If you're bitten and then you transform, that's not a curse. That's a genetic defect. Like, that causes you to, it's like a virus that changes your DNA. If you transformed, you would burn so many calories that your body would fucking lose its mind. Why do you think, like, oh, here's how it's gonna go. I'm gonna turn into a werewolf whenever I want, and then I'll just be a werewolf after that. It'll be so cool. No, you're changing every single part of your body so that every part can break and reform, and then you're tearing through your skin just to generate more skin beneath it, along with the reshape of every part of your bone ever. Just the thought of that. What, do you know how much food you would have to eat just to have the calories in your body just so you could burn with one transformation? No wonder werewolves are out of their fucking mind when they first transform. They burn through so many calories because they don't expect all those things to be lost, that when they finally turn up, they're so goddamn hungry that they turn feral in 2 seconds. I'm gonna transform. Wait, did you carb load? What's that? And then they can't breathe because they don't have the physical muscle to do it because they burned it away when they ran out of stuff in their stomach. So they go around and start eating all the little kids and the men and women of the tribes in different different cities and all that place. And they're like, kill all the werewolves. Why? Because that guy didn't fucking carb load. We have protein bars for this specifically. And he didn't eat any of them. You should binge eat for 6 days straight, and then on Sunday you get to transform. That's it. You get 1 day, mostly because you've been eating like shit for the longest period of time, and then you have to carb load just to keep your body functioning. Do you have any idea of just the thought of transforming in and into itself? Oh, and you're faster than vampires. That guy got from Oregon to fucking Canada, or wherever the fuck those places. One of those places where there's a whole bunch of woods and there's also a lot of fog. So I'm assuming it's Oregon because that's where all the fucking mountains are. Now there's all of that, and you get from there to Canada line in less than 12 hours. It's understandable. It's understandable. You're super fast. You can cover that clear amount of time. But if you're a wolf, not only do you have to transform, you also have to burn the calories to do all that shit. And you're pretty big. You're carrying a lot more weight. Hey, so this is just the physical things. Just the physical things that I have a problem with. But how about, let's talk about like that stupid fucking love thing that happens in it. Like, I'm really going for you, girl. What are you doing? Hanging out with my vampire boyfriend? Oh, I guess I'll just stay over here and brood. And he's over there like without a Why does Taylor Lautner not have a shirt on 90% of the time? Even if you're like not cold, I don't walk around without a long sleeve shirt on all the time because I think people are going to see how skinny my arms are and just be like, oh, is he doing heroin? And it's like, you can see like some of my veins right now. That's because I'm skinny as fuck. Like, and I can't get rid of them no matter how hard I try. Like, doing this and like pushing all the blood out, you let it go, it reforms like jello. I have to wear long sleeve shirts just to hide that type of shit. And then there's just the guy where it's like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling it with this girl. I don't know. I could really get down with her. Vampire boyfriend shows up. Oh, I guess I gotta go do something else. Hangs out with other really buff shirtless men. Gets a haircut that, you live in the woods, you dipshit. How does your hair like get to where it's like flaming forward or whatever that's called, like pushed forward, but there's product in it, so it gets. You're supposed to be a wild man in the woods. Not once do I ever see dirt on you, ever. There's not even dirt in your fingernails. I'm a nerd, and I don't go outside all that much. But every 3 days, at least, I have to look at my fingers and be like, oh shit. Like, start taking out all the little chunks of wood that I had to use because my dad wanted to, like, keep a fireplace going because it's cold as shit and it costs a lot to run the heater. And you guys live in the woods and I don't see dirt on you ever. It's like, oh, maybe he just transformed. Then why isn't he on the floor having a seizure because there's nothing in his body? There's no DNA in his body because that's protein and his body is just like, he never carb loaded. Go for everything. And he's super buff all the time. Not only do you not help out with anything, apparently you're just a useless piece of shit throughout the movie, but also you just inexplicably have abs. What are the abs for? It's technically it's to draw in female people. Well, make the people likable then. Make some of the people like, oh, look at him. This one has such a brooding personality. He wears good designer clothes, and he has just the face and the hair, and he's a gentleman. We love this character so much. But what is his personality? His what? They say as they have Team Jacob written on their shirt. Like, you're a 12-year-old girl and you're dedicating your life to a fandom. Go inside, watch something that has no fandom, and then come back to me with a real personality. I'm not saying having a fandom in your brain all the time isn't a personality trait, but when it's liking Twilight and then basing your entire body around that, it's not too good. Not too good. You want to know why Twilight sucks dick? Because I've seen Supernatural and I know what good supernatural shit is. Oh, this one's vampires versus werewolves. There's vampires versus werewolves in Supernatural too. And there's also two hunky ass guys and another guy who doesn't even show off his body. He just shows off his face, his voice, and a trench coat, and he's the fucking best. You know what my favorite character in the show is? He doesn't look good. He does not have the abs. He doesn't have the fucking, like, weird pecs that are somehow drooping to the ground because they have so much weight but are also held up like it's a push-up bra on all the time. He doesn't have the big fucking biceps. His name is Bobby Singer, and he's the best character in the entire goddamn show. Oh, and you want to know what he does? He learns how to kill all those sparkly sons of bitches. And even if there's a werewolf, there's a minor transformation, but at least it makes sense because they're not transforming their entire body and then acting like I didn't take all the calories they had inside the... what is that? 47 minutes. Oh, God. There might be a part 2 to this because there's so much I need to, like, get off my chest. But for the moment, this has been the first RedSon Rants. Have a nice day. Fuck whoever made Twilight. And watch Supernatural. RedSon, setting for the day. Goodbye, guys.